Welcome to Courageous Parenting Summit, Transforming Challenges into Opportunities. I am Filza Jabin, mother of 3 children, author of a book, teen leadership coach, and parenting coach. Today we have here with us Shelly Lefkoe. Welcome, Shelly.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Shelly. And I am Edith Wallach. I am transformational leadership coach, a parent of 3 children, and Amazon book-selling author. Welcome, Shelly. Great to have you. And let's hear your bio.
Okay, Shelly Lefkoe is a founder of the Lefkoe Institute. Okay, thank you for correcting me. Her clients are people who have struggled with changing long-standing behavioral and emotional issues such as procrastination, fear, and relationship issues. And her approach frees them to live more joyful lives. She does this by identifying the root cause of their problems, limiting beliefs. So can you put light on this? The work you're doing is amazing. And what brought you in this work? We would love to hear that from you.
Well, I'm going to tell you what brought me into my parenting work, not my real work. So my real work, I came into, and my passion is to have people live as the unlimited possibility that they are. And when I started working with people on all kinds of issues, from fear of public speaking to not being able to stand up for yourself, to low self-esteem, to relationship issues, I started realizing very early on that it is their beliefs about themselves and life that totally sabotage their lives and keep them from having the lives they want. And it became very obvious to me that if we shift, well, the beliefs came from interactions with parents. So from the first 6 to 8 years, we don't know if we're good enough or not. We don't know if we're important or not. We don't know if life is hard or easy. We don't know if money is scarce and hard to get or flows with abundance. We don't know we don't know that there is any such thing as a mistake or a failure. And I'll tell you in a little bit how beliefs get formed, but it is with interactions with parents. And so I realized that if we could change the way in which we parent, the world would change. And I think it's the only thing that actually will change the world, because if we raise a conscious generation of children, they won't hit, they won't start wars, they won't berate people, they won't be serial killers, unless they're mentally ill. But we can raise children who feel good about themselves and therefore treat others with dignity and respect. So that's how I came into parenting. And it's my favorite thing in the world to talk about.
What is your mission in the world, Shelly?
My mission is to help people live as the unlimited possibilities that they are, to have people be able to fully express themselves and be their authentic selves, regardless of what anybody thinks. That's my mission. And also, when we're handed our babies, whether it's in the hospital or the birthing room or wherever you're at home, you're handed this blessing of life, this little being, and you look at it, and the love that you feel is indescribable. And then all of a sudden, 3 or 4 years later, you're in a store yelling, "Get over here right now, stop it. I told you. How many times do I have to tell you? Get upstairs, do your homework." And I said, "Well, what happened?" And of course, what happened is life. And I think the biggest problem is nobody hands you a manual which is why I created one. I have a manual on how to parent.
Okay.
And I break it down into 2 principles and some techniques. But the idea that you can be responsible for the emotional, physical, spiritual, intellectual development of a human being and not need training is as insane a thing as I have ever heard. We need training to drive a bus, to drive a truck, to do anything, be an accountant. You need training. But to raise a human being, I can do that.
Yeah. That's weird reality of our world, no matter where we are. So,
Yeah. No matter where we are. Yes.
yeah.
I have a client in Saudi Arabia, and it just blows my mind that I have somebody so so far away in such a different culture than I live in. And yes, there are cultural beliefs for sure. I'm sure, Bilza, you have your
Yeah.
beliefs. You're wearing obviously a headscarf, and there's some beliefs attached to that. So there are cultural beliefs and religious beliefs. But basically, the fundamental self-esteem beliefs, everyone has.
Absolutely. So, what do you think, as you're talking about the root cause of the problem, what do you think is the root cause of temper tantrum? Like, it's the biggest problem in parenting. Like, how to handle temper tantrum?
Oh, what a great question. I love that. Nobody's ever asked me that. So I'm going to back up and I'm going to answer your question. So I ask parents, when you come home at the end of the day, what do your kids do? Do you have little kids?
Yes.
What do they do when
All
they see
different
you?
ages. Yeah, hop on
The
the
little
game,
ones.
go
When you
on the
walk in the
game,
house.
watch TV.
No. What does the little one do when you walk in the house at the end of the day? And
They
they
just
see,
want to
Jump
hang
on
up on
you.
us.
They jump on you. Mommy,
Yes.
daddy. Yeah.
they run to you, they jump on you, the mommy, daddy. And what do they want? They haven't seen you all day. What do they want?
Attention,
Attention.
love.
Attention,
Yeah.
love. Very good. And I like this to come from my interviewers because the audience can be answering the questions as well.
Yeah.
And it's not coming from me. It's not like I'm teaching something. I'm illuminating something. So every child alive wants 3 things: affection, attention, and acknowledgement.
Okay.
Wow, look what
That's a big one.
you said it. Edith, mommy, look what I did. And they want you to go, wow, look what you did. Now, what is the 1-word question every little kid asks all day long?
One word question.
So if you say to your child, no, you can't, what do they want to know?
Why not?
Why? Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So children want affection, attention, and acknowledgement. And the 1-word question they ask is why?
Mm.
So if you criticize your child, they conclude, I'm not good enough.
Oh,
If you don't pay attention to your child, you're working all day, you come home, you're cooking, you're busy, and they're going, mommy, mommy. And you go, I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening. And they're looking at their iPhone. They're going to conclude, I'm not important.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're complaining about money and you can't pay the bills and you're struggling, they're going to conclude money, probably not going to. They're probably going to conclude money is scarce and hard to get, or life is hard, or life is a struggle, or I have to work hard to make money. And these beliefs stay with us through our entire lives because you actually think as a child that you're seeing that, right? Like I saw that I'm not good enough. If you were there, you would have seen it, right? And you can't not believe something you think you saw.
So, yeah.
Now, I'm going to answer your question. Underlying anger, temper tantrum, is always powerlessness. I'm going
Okay.
to say that again. Underlying anger is powerlessness, because if you could do something about whatever it is, you would do it. We get angry because we feel powerless.
And it burst out.
And
Yeah.
it bursts out, and you just throw a tantrum because you feel so powerless. You're not getting what you want. You don't know how to get it. I was at the mall once with my mom and Blake was about 3, maybe 2.5. And my mother kept buying her things. And at some point I said, that's it. I got it. I know you want to buy her everything, but it's enough. And Blake wanted something, and mom had to say no. And she got down on the floor and she's pounding her hands and feet. I got down and I said, you are so angry right now. I got it. You wish Mama could buy you everything in the whole mall. Me too. And it's not okay. We don't have, we have so many toys in the house. We have to leave some toys for other kids or whatever I said. But I got how angry you are. What can I do? Is there anything you need from me? So now I'm going to give her a sense of power, right? Do you need a hug? Or do you just want to cry? And she looked up at me and she wasn't sure, she saw that the tantrum wasn't working. So I said, I'm going to stand right here. And if you need anything, I'm right here. She cried for another minute and then she came up and she gave me a hug, and that was it. So one of the skills that I teach that's the most important thing is validate feelings. Validate feelings. I see how angry you are. You're so angry right now. You want to hit your sister, and hitting is not okay. So going back to the beliefs, the whole principle, there's 2 principles that I teach. When my child walks away from any interaction, what are they likely to conclude? And is that a belief I want them to have for the rest of their lives? If it's not, go clean it up. None of us are perfect. I'm not a perfect parent. When I do parenting talks on big stages, I have a picture of my daughter and she's laughing like this with her head back, just laughing. And the caption, and I say, so when Blake was asked, is your mother the perfect mother? I show that slide. So there's no such thing as a perfect parent. So you go back and clean it up and say, I was really angry. I had a long day. I was tired. It's not you. You say, I'm never mad at you, ever. I'm only mad at what you did. It's a very important distinction. So what will my child conclude is the first question, and the most important question you'll ever ask as a parent. The second question, at what cost? At what cost must my child go to bed at 7 o'clock? At what cost must they do their homework right now? So I tell a story. If anybody has heard me, I'm sure they've heard the story, but it's a wonderful story because I was using all my skills and tools to get my daughter Britt into the bathroom to brush her teeth. I'm crazy about teeth brushing because all my teeth are capped because I didn't take care of them as a child. So I get her into the bathroom. I said, you want to fly into the bathroom, or should we jump into the bathroom, or should we do cartwheels into the bathroom? So I finally get her into the bathroom and I go to brush her teeth and she goes, no. And I said, oh, honey, let's wait, hold on. Sorry, my watch thinks I fell and I don't know what's going on. Brush your teeth. And she wouldn't open her mouth. And I said, I made the toothbrush an airplane and nothing worked. At that point, I was exhausted. And she was, again, maybe 2.5, 3. She's probably closer to 3. So I take the toothbrush, I put my arm around her neck, and I'm ready to ram the toothbrush into her mouth.
Okay.
The voice in my head says, at what cost? If she's toothless, I don't want her to have the belief I'm powerless. That's not a belief you want your child to have. It does not lead to good. And we'll talk about how beliefs manifest in a minute. So I looked at her and I said, Britt, yes, Britt. I said, I am not going to force you to brush your teeth. I won't force you. But if you don't brush your teeth, you're not going to have any teeth. And then you're going to talk like this. And everybody's going to think it's very weird. And you're not going to be able to chew your food. So she starts laughing. And I said to her, now this is very, very, very important tool. What is it about brushing your teeth that you don't like? And she looks at me and she says, the toothbrush hurts my gums, Mommy. And I don't like the taste of the toothpaste. Bam. We got an answer. Do not ask why. Why is a terrible question. We don't know why. Why is made up. And even if you knew why, it's not powerful. What? What happened at school? What is it about school that you don't like? Okay. I have a client who found out her child was being bullied. Another mother found out her child was being molested. What is it about school? So the tool that I'm teaching is get to the source, don't force. Get to the source of the problem. Don't force the child, because they're going to conclude I'm powerless. And you can notice, everyone, you have the same issues all the time. How many times do I have to tell you? That's where that comes from. Trying to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, which we know is the definition of insanity. But as parents, we do that. So I start walking out of the bathroom and Britt says, Mommy, can you be soft with the toothbrush? And I said, yes. And we will get you a soft brush and we will get you different toothpaste. But for right now, I'll be very soft. And she brushed her teeth. When you take away if I force you to do something, you're going to resist.
No.
You're going to resist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And our children are no different. Nobody likes to be forced. I'm doing a parenting workshop right now, and I'm doing role plays with people, and I talk to them the way we talk to our children. And I say, get dressed right now. We're leaving. We have a party to go to. And they all look at me and I said, how do you feel? You feel like getting dressed right now?
No.
You don't want to do things that you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get to the source, don't force. Ask what, not why. What is it about broccoli that you don't like? It's too hard to chew. You can make it softer. You can give her a different vegetable, but you have to be creative. And when people say to me, I don't have time, well, you have time for other things that are important. What's more important than raising a successful child?
Yeah. That was actually my second question. How can parent keep calm in the heat of the moment? Like this is like very hard for most of us to keep calm. Like what brings me into that energy? Do you have a couple of tips around that?
I have one. Now, I don't usually talk about this, but I'm in parent, but I'm going to teach it because it's very, very, very powerful. Okay. This what I'm going to teach you saved my life when my husband died. Got me out of bed every day, okay? So if I'm going to ask you all a question, everybody listening, I want you to say the answer out loud. If you're in a room and somebody comes in and doesn't say hello to you, what might you automatically think?
Feel bad. I'm
Huh?
valuable.
I'm not valuable.
Yeah.
Edith, say that.
You're being ignored and
I'm
not
being
not
ignored.
listening to my rules or something like that.
Right. So, no, if you're in a room and somebody you know comes in and doesn't say hello, right? So some of you said they're rude, or they don't like me, or I did something wrong, or what did you say, Philza?
Being ignored.
Being ignored.
They're ignoring me, right? I'm not, whatever you came up with, that's meaning. Where does all meaning come from? Where does that meaning come from? Everybody gave a different meaning. Where does the meaning come from?
From the
beliefs.
Yes, but that's not where the meaning comes. That's true, but not where the meaning comes. So meaning evolves. You give meaning to things because of your beliefs, but the meaning comes from where?
From mine?
Your head.
Yeah.
All meaning comes from inside your mind, in your head. They don't like me. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a bad day. I'm never going to get what I want, or they're not going to hire me, or the boss gets angry, he's going to fire me, or she's going to fire me, right? So we give meaning all day long, but the meaning is in our minds. If meaning is in your mind, inside your head, do events have inherent meaning? That's a question.
No.
No. Events have no inherent meaning. Meaning is made up.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Awesome.
are meaning machines.
Machine. Right. Exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say events don't matter. They don't have consequences. I'm telling you, if you yell at your kids, they will probably conclude beliefs that you don't want them to have. So there are consequences to your actions, but there is no meaning. It doesn't mean you're a bad mother. It doesn't mean your kid is going to be screwed up. It doesn't mean that. Another way of saying this is we don't know anything for sure because something happens. My husband died, devastating to me, but it doesn't mean I'll never be happy again, or I'm going to starve to death, or I'll never love again. The event happens and meaning is in our minds. Now, your feelings come from the meaning you give events. So let's give an example. You're walking down the street and a man walks past you and it has no meaning. What are you going to feel?
Feel nothing.
If you give it the meaning he's dangerous, what will you feel?
I'm scared.
If you give it the meaning he'll protect me, what will you feel?
I feel relaxed.
So the man walking past you isn't caught, and I'm going to bring this to parenting. The man walking past you isn't making you feel anything. The meaning you're giving it is. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, okay? And Philza, I'm hoping that it's okay to say it. It's an off word. It's okay? So my daughter was 14 years old. We just moved here. She was very, hormonal. She was a 14-year-old teenager. And my husband was an angel. He was an amazing father. And she walks in the house and she said something, he said something, and she goes, "Oh my God, you're being such a dick." And I was like, "Oh my God, you know, and he said, "Shelly, relax." She goes to her door, she slams the door, and she's a great kid, right? He goes to the door and he says, "I hear a teenager who loves her father and is not in touch with it at this moment."
He did that.
He did that. She throws a shoe at the door. She starts laughing and crying, and she comes out and she goes, "Oh, Daddy, I had the worst day. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I said that to you. I'm so sorry." And he goes, "It's okay, baby. It's okay." And he holds her. He said, "You had a really rough day." He said, "I thought so." Now, here's the thing. From that day to the day he died, they never had another fight. And we were sitting in my jacuzzi one Mother's Day, and we were talking about it. And she said, "Mom, in that moment, I knew there was nothing I could ever do that would have him not love me." Now, here's the point. You don't have to let your child speak to you that way. Most parents are not going to do that. But he didn't give it the meaning that what? What would most parents give it the meaning?
I mean, she will be spoiled. She's not a good
No,
girl.
no. But what
Yep.
meaning? Most parents would give it the meaning, she doesn't respect me.
Yeah.
That's the meaning.
It is.
That's why we get angry. She didn't not respect him. She had a horrible day and felt safe enough to take it out on her dad.
Yeah.
She didn't not respect him, but that's what most people think. My father did not speak to my mother in the way that I would have liked him to all the time. And I was at a party once and I heard him say, "I have more respect for my wife than anybody." And I walked over to him and I said, "What?" And he looked at me and he says, "I have more respect for your mother than anybody." I said, "Well, you sure as hell don't talk to her like you do." And he looked at me like I punched him in the stomach. He said, "Oh, I just talk like that. I don't mean anything." So it's the meaning we give what our children do that has us get angry. They don't do their homework. They're never going to get into college. They're never going to learn discipline. They're never going to, and we make stuff up. So the way to not react to your children is to practice this tool. What happened? My kid drew on the wall. What meaning did I give it? What do parents get angry about? They don't respect the house, or they're terrible children, or whatever you give it, right? Whatever it says, and say, well, it could mean that, and it could mean they're 3 or 4 or 5 years old and they haven't learned yet that walls are not for drawing on. Unless you're the kind of parent who says that's fine and will paint the house when they're teenagers. I mean, I have a client who did that. But I'm not saying let your kid speak to you that way. I'm not saying let your kid draw on the wall. Here's tool number 3. Give information. Walls are not for drawing on. People are not for hitting. We do not hit. Hitting hurts. If you leave the refrigerator open, the food will spoil. We get angry because we expect children to know things that we've never taught them and they haven't learned yet.
Setting rules and boundaries, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not big on rules. I mean, once in, for where safety is involved.
Yeah.
But I'm not a rules person. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do that. You should do whatever you do in your family. I'm telling you, one thing. Your children's beliefs are more important than the fact that you have to paint your wall. If you borrow my clothing and you don't take care of it, you can't borrow it anymore. Consequences, right? So why we get angry is we're giving meaning. Mostly they don't respect us. If a child doesn't listen, children are not supposed to listen. That's not their job to listen to you. They're not computers. They're children.
No.
And as parents, we have to figure out how to get what we want from our children without damaging, well, not damaging them, without behaving in a way that's going to lead them to have beliefs that won't serve them. Because listen, if I said to you, I have two children, okay, who grow up into adults. I have two friends, and one has the beliefs, I'm not good enough, I'm not important, I can't, it's dangerous to speak up for myself, it's not okay to ask for what I want, putting myself first is selfish, mistakes and failures are bad.
Wow.
And then I have another child who doesn't have those beliefs. Which one do you think is going to have a happier, more successful life?
The second one for sure.
And I will tell you something, you guys. You could push your children to get straight A's. And that doesn't mean that they will have successful, happy lives. At what cost? See, I've worked with 5 Harvard PhDs who had the belief I'm stupid. They know they're not stupid. They graduated Harvard, but they still believe it. It's not worth it.
Thank you so much, Shelly. This has been such an amazing interview. So many amazing gifts, and your generous heart is just showing through so much. Thank you so much. And we know that you have a gift for our audience who are.
I do.
Can you quickly talk about it?
Yeah. So the gift is you can eliminate a belief for free. So you can understand how beliefs get formed and where yours come from. And, there's parenting beliefs. Children should be seen and not heard. Children should listen, So this is how to eliminate a belief. And if you go to empoweringthenextgeneration.com, that's the manual. That's the parenting manual.
Go and get it. Go.
Yes.
Empoweringthenextgeneration.com.
The manual. So thank you for giving us the manual how to raise children. I wish I would have it 22 years ago.
Oh my God, you look so young. Did I say the free belief was eliminatebeliefs.com? Did I say that? To eliminate a belief for free is eliminatebeliefs.com.
Okay.
And empowering the next generation is the program.
Yeah, we'll share all the gifts with our audience. So thank you so much for both of the gifts and your tips and the amazing interview. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Shelly.
Thanks
Thank you so
for having me.
much.
Yep.
Have a great rest of your day and happy travels and happy
Thanks.
Thanksgiving.
Thanks. You too, guys.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.